NFL coaches and executives and scouts voted on the top quarterbacks and the top wide receivers in the NFL. Where do our Rams rank in all those lists? Plus, rookie tight end Terrance Ferguson is still unsigned. Should we be worrying about that? And uniform talk, baby. We're going to talk and discuss all these fun topics on this off-season update episode here on the Rams Up Podcast Network. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Rams Up Podcast Network. I'm Ian. That is Mark. If you're on YouTube, make sure to That's right. If you're on YouTube with us, like, subscribe to the channel, put that notification bell on. All that helps with the algorithm for other Rams and football fans to see our content. And if you're on the audio only or podcast only side of things, thanks for listening in and share this podcast and audio with all your fellow Rams fans. Any of those options, me and Mark, we very much appreciate it. But Mark, my friend, how you doing in the final days, the final week of the dead period, it feels like?
Doing good, doing good. I'm a little bit further south than usual at my one of my alternate studios, a little bit closer to the southern border here. But yeah, things are good.
Very good, very good, very good. And Rams Nation, I hope you are doing good. As yes, this is still the off season, quote unquote. Yes, it is still the dead period, but there are some fun topics to talk about today. As a lot of rankings have been going on. Yes, we have talked about where Jared Verse ranks, where Kobe Turner ranks, and where other players have ranked, not only from the NFL's top 100 list, but sometimes considering, or I guess you should say, depending on who you talk to, how do the coaches, executives, and scouts feel about you? And well, Matthew Stafford, our gunslinger, Glock 9, the soul snatcher, whatever name you like to call him, coaches, scouts, and executives voted Matthew Stafford as the sixth best quarterback in the entire NFL. So this is a poll by ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, who is a credible and legit NFL, insider slash reporter for various different subjects, not just player only, but he gets in tune with a lot of guys, and he's very, very good. So every year he has this list where he talks to various coaches, various head coaches, assistant coaches, executives, whether it be GMs, personnel guys, other people part of the front office, and then the scouts. What do they all think about who are the best players at the position? And we've talked about it with Verse. We talked about it with Kobe Turner. We talked about it with Kyron Williams, how he was not on that list. But Matthew Stafford is, everyone. And I think this is right about where he should be. I mean, Mark, do you think this is too low, too high, or does this sound about right? Sixth best in the NFL.
Well, let me think about this. It sounds about right when you consider Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, who else? Lamar Jackson. You start getting into that 4, 5, 6 category. That's probably where Stafford's going to pop up. So it sounds about right to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a fair spot in my opinion. So let's go. Who is in front of him, Rams Nation? I think many of these you'll be like, all right, makes sense. So number one is Patrick Mahomes, again, voted by coaches, executives, and scouts. Number two comes in with Josh Allen, an MVP quarterback as well. Not a shock. Then you get number three, you get Joe Burrow, who is an MVP caliber quarterback as well. Not a shock that he's ahead. Then you get number four, Lamar Jackson, a multi-time MVP player. Not a shock he's ahead. But this one, not that I hate it or dislike it, but it is like, oh man, the league really thinks highly of him. Jaden Daniels, the rookie phenom, is ranked number 5 by coaches, executive, and scouts. And then comes Matthew Stafford at number 6. So, hey, I would put Matthew Stafford at 5, but I do understand that Jaden Daniels' phenomenal and amazing rookie season allows him to be placed on that pedestal right now. But I know, Mark, you got the children coming in, and they can't believe Jaden Daniels is ahead of them.
Yeah, I saw that too, Jaden Daniels, and that maybe that's a little early for him to be
Yeah.
that high based on I mean, a year ago, CJ Stroud probably would have been there, right? And he took a slight step back, right? Not
Yeah.
not a big
I still
step
thought he
back.
had a nice season, truthfully, though,
Yeah.
for Stroud, but yeah.
Yeah, so I kinda put them in the same category. I need a little more data before I put but, I'm not gonna I don't have a big problem with it, though.
Yeah.
He's a great quarterback.
Yeah. He was an awesome rookie. So, again, hey, if everything goes according to plan, the Rams get into the playoff tournament. I mean, let's be real. If the Washington Commanders continue to play well, I mean, we were going to play them this last season, and I was going to be worried if we were going to face them in the NFC Championship. So, we'll be facing Jaden Daniels for a long time. He'll stay in this conference with Washington for the rest of his career, most likely. So, we're going to have some battles with him, and he's pretty legit. But can't be mad at Stafford at 6, Mark, Rams Nation. But let me know in the comments, Rams fans and anyone else tuning in. Is Matthew Stafford rightfully at 6, or should it be higher? Should it be lower? Let me hear your comments on that. But another fun little list regarding our Rams players, Mark, Rams Nation, is Puka Nacua and Davante Adams in the same style of listing and voting from Jeremy Fowler, ESPN, with the executive coaches and whatnot. Puka Nacua and Davante voted in the top 15 wide receivers by NFL coaches, executives, and scouts. And in this, though, Rams Nation, they were not officially in the top 10. So they were part of the honorable mention group. And basically, they are not in any particular order, the 11 through 15 guys that weren't voted in the top 10. So let's go through the list and who are ahead of Puka and Davante. Jamar Chase, number 1. Justin Jefferson, number 2. Tyreek Hill, number 3. CD Lamb with the Cowboys, number 4. AJ Brown with the Eagles, number 5. Amon-Ra St. Brown, former SoCal native, with the Lions, number 6. Malik Neighbors, who had a really good rookie season with the Giants, they voted him as the 7th best. Number 8, Nico Collins with the Houston Texans. I liked him a lot. I always thought he was a good player, but wow, he cracks the top 10 there. Mike Evans, a future Hall of Famer, number 9 with the Bucks. And then number 10 with the New York Jets, Garrett Wilson. Very, very interesting list there, Mark. Okay, but then part of this honorable mention group, Rams Nation, that would include, again, in no particular order for this honorable mention group, 11 through 15, you can consider it, okay? Puka Nacua, Davante Adams, Terry McLaurin with Washington, Brian Thomas Jr., the rookie from Jacksonville who played really well, T. Higgins from the Bengals, and that's the group for the honorable mention. So again, Davante and Puka are in the top 15, just didn't crack that top 10. But I mean, Mark, I'll start with you. I got some problems with that top 10 list. But do you think both our guys should be in the top 10? Just one of them? And who would you kick out of that top 10 to get our guy in or guys?
Well, Brian Thomas, we have 1 year, of his production, right? Is it 1 year?
Mention, by the way.
Pardon?
He's in the honorable mention,
Honorable
Thomas.
mention. In the top 10. Yeah, I don't know. I will say this about Puka, he missed some games. He missed some time. That's a big thing against him. And then Devontae getting up there in years, jumping over to a new team, but the production's been there. There really hasn't been a drop off. So, I think both of them are on the cusp there 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Trying to be fair here. I think the big knock on Puka is his availability, but man, at the same time, consider his production when he is when he is available is through the roof. So I understand them dinging him as far as the availability goes.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the durability thing, but I think just objectively, you have to he has to be top 10. I mean, I'm sorry. He's better than Garrett Wilson. He's better than Nico Collins. At least those two guys, just right off the bat, right? I mean, just sincerely. I mean, I do think I know Malik Neighbors was really, really good, but to throw a rookie in there already, and look at he was good. I think Puka's better. And why do I think Puka's better than those three guys? Again, I think he's better than Garrett Wilson. I do think he's better than Nico Collins in this list, and I do think he's better than Malik Neighbors, who were all in the top 10. Every other guy, okay, I understand. I get it.
Yeah,
Why do I
did
think
was
that
it
Rams Nation? Say again, Mark?
I was just gonna say, wasn't Nico Collins out for most of the year?
Yeah, I mean, he missed some time for sure. He did.
Yeah.
So I just think, a lot of this list is just like, just the factors. Like if you had to take a wide receiver, and again, this is a cumulative list. Not everyone's voting for the same guys. It's just how it all summed up together, right? A voting process. But objectively, Puka Nacua is a better route runner than I think at least Nico Collins. And again, Nico Collins runs good routes. I'm not saying Puka's perfect. And look, there's gonna be some guys like you're out of your damn mind, but Puka runs good routes, man. And of all these guys even combined, Puka Nacua is fast. He may not be Tyreek Hill fast, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson fast, but he's hit speeds just as fast as any of the other top wide receivers in the league. Like it's happened in games recently, last year, this year. Dude is fast when he's turning on the burners. Route running, and then the yards after catch, the insane catches, right? The sideline, the back shoulder, the leaping and contorting your body, the toe drag swag. I mean, we can go down these last 2 years and think of all the insane catches and obviously throws by Stafford that they pulled off together, and it was fantastic. And then on top of that, the blocking. The dude blocks like a fullback and beats up DNs and D tackles and linebackers and seals them off in the run game. I mean, I know wide receivers, the name of the game is run routes, get open, catch patches, catch passes, catch touchdowns. Totally understand that. But if you're saying like if you're putting in all aspects of football together, right? I mean, how is Nakua not top 10? Sincerely. Now, Davante, I get it, top 15 and respect. He's still in the top 15. That's great news for us. A lot of people still view him that way. But I just think it's wild, Mark, that he is not a top 10 player. Health or not, I mean, again, one more time for everyone out there. Blocking, taking handoffs in the run game, screens, blocking for screens, deep routes, intermediates, yards after catch, the toughness, the wow catches, the sideline catches. I mean, how is that not top 10 worthy? I mean, Rams Nation, let me know in the comments as well. I mean, is Puka top 10 in your eyes? Is Davante top 10? Or are they both right in the top 15 as they should be based on this ESPN list? But talking about it, Mark, I'm getting fired up. That's just crazy to me.
Did I make you mad?
No,
But,
I'm not
yeah,
mad. I mean, hey,
yeah,
we're gonna
yeah,
ball out. We're gonna go on a deep playoff run and have a chance to win a championship if those two guys on your screen, 12 and 17, are healthy. So I ain't mad. It's just crazy how skewed some guys are just based on the upside, right? You always hear that upside on this guy, the upside, the upside, the upside. I mean,
right.
guys, I can't, I just can't believe it. Like, there's some people that think Nakua, based in this article, if you read it from Jeremy Fowler, he doesn't have like an it factor. He doesn't have another gear. It's like, what are you?
Yeah.
How are you not watching the film, guys? I mean, it's really incredible to hear that or
I
read that
could
with my own
see
two
I
eyes.
could understand someone, like, perhaps saying, "Hey, he doesn't have that ability to get vertical fast." Okay, maybe that's true, but at the same time, like you have pointed out, his ability to, with the ball in his hands, just to get up the field and to break tackles. I'll never forget that play against the Giants on the sideline where, the cornerback thought he had him out of bounds, and he just rotated and up the
Yeah.
sideline for 65 yards,
I I
something
mean,
like that.
Mark, I'm gonna read you some quotes from people that talked about Nakua on this list real quick. One defensive coach in the NFL said, "I can't believe he's not in the top 10. He's got the it factor." So he agrees, right? Another NFL coordinator, right? We're talking, someone with a higher pay scale here with more significance in their job. His ability to play fast through the catch is rare. So even though he might not have the top end speed, he's playing fast and efficiently all the time. But hey, respect to him for saying nice things, but Nakua does play fast. I mean, the film don't lie, guys. Anyway, then this one AFC executive. So could that be a GM? Could that be a player personnel guy? I mean, someone important and just some scout dude. Legitimate strength in the hands and, run after catch ability. Plays big in critical moments, but probably doesn't have high end ability like some of the other guys on this list. Like, what are we talking about? That's just crazy to me. Again, he
Wasn't
complimented
there
him, but it's like,
Yeah.
Guys, man.
Wasn't he clocked one of the highest speeds with the ball in his hands all last season?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying, like, Nacua plays faster than whatever 40 time he'll ever run, 10-yard split and all that, like, he is a fast football player. Again, not blazing speed, but he's yes, is he as fast as Jamar Chase and some other guy? Of course not. But to say the guy doesn't have high-end ability like the other guys, like, what are we talking about here? It's really, really incredible, so there's that, but let's go to Davante. What are some of the things that people said about him is like, well, one NFL coordinator said, again, we don't know if it's offense or defense or special teams. We said, when you watch him closely, take out the jet stuff, he's still exactly what the classic X receiver should look like. And then what that means, everyone, is that in football, old school terms here, you look at the receivers from left to right with the letters X, Y, and Z. Now, in modern days, you throw other numbers and letters in there, but the X typically would be a receiver who would be by himself a majority of the time, because then you would have the Y and the Z, the slot receiver and the other outright outside receiver together more often. The X is classified as somebody who can, hey, we can leave him out there one on one and he'll win. That's our guy that's likely going to be playing against the other team's best corner. That's our guy that we can say, hey, man, you got to get open. No one else is covering you. We need your help to win that battle there. Or hey, you're a dominant player. People fear you. That's an X receiver typically you hear about. So this guy thinks Davante's still that guy, right? All right, man. Line up there. Go win that back shoulder catch, which Davante's really good at. Go win that jump ball. Go win that one-on-one route, that double move slant, that deep in. All the routes that Davante has done so well on his career and everything else that he does well. It's good to hear that a coordinator still thinks that. And man, Mark, like Puka talked about with the NFL Network, Davante Adams will lead the Rams offense in 2025. Isn't that incredible that he thinks that? And Puka's a very humble guy. He's always, smiling. And Puka spoke with, Ian Rappaport, not me, Ian Rappaport, and other insiders on the NFL Network. And he said, oh, hey, man, it's definitely going to be different. But Davante, as soon as he stepped in the facility, has been fantastic. The ability to learn the game from another all-time great. I feel like I'm stealing. I feel like I'm a kid in a candy store. And Nacua said, I've had Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, Cooper Kupp, and now Davante Adams. Like, my life is pretty good. I can't complain too much. He says
Yeah.
all. And then he says, Nacua said, like, the route running is what really jumped out about Davante once they started practicing together. He said his ability to change pace while he's moving on the football field, the ability to win against negative leverage. Again, leverage is a term in football, everyone out there, where it's like, hey, man, he has the advantage over you based on maybe the way he's positioned, the way his body is over yours. He just has an advantage over you over of any way, right? It could be strength, arm placement, the way you try to block somebody, the way you try to guard somebody. That's just like a long story short where leverage is. So negative leverage means like, hey, that guy's got the upper hand on you. So Puka again is saying the ability to win against negative leverage. His suddenness at the line of scrimmage is fantastic to see. And to be able to see it in person and be lining up right next to him, it makes sure you have all the gas turned on when you're going out there with number 17, as he's talking about Davante there. So, man, he says also, I can't wait to see you guys. I just wanted to see Matthew Stafford spin it. That's my favorite part of the day. Man, it's going to be fun with Davante. So, Puka Nacua is excited. I mean, look at he thinks Davante is the key for the offense in 2025, Mark. And I believe that's probably the case.
Yeah, and it's just another a case of I talked about this on the podcast the other night. The great history of Rams wide receivers and so many team guys, so many guys that just want the W's, and it's all about the team. I mean, this "we not me" goes back to Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt, right, and Henry Allard, Cooper
Yeah.
Kupp, Flipper Anderson, Puka Nacua, and now Davante Adams. It's just really a rich history, a really cool history the Rams have of wide receivers, and Devontae appears to be another one, and Puka as well. Guys that just don't care, who the number one guy is. They just want to get out there and play winning football.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to go on this wide receiver, topic here with our guys, Quinn Lake, our captain. our safety, our slot, our star position guy. He was with Rich Eisen on the Rich Eisen show today. Great show. And he was asked by Rich, like, do you think Davante and Puka are, one of the best duos in the league? And Quentin Lake said, yep, it's up there. He's like, I truly believe that because you have two receivers who give you big differences in play style. Puka is young, obviously, got a lot of energy, and he is strong. He's like, people don't understand. Puka, pound for pound, is probably one of the strongest wide receivers in the NFL. He's faster than you think. He's stronger than you think. And he's got really, really great feet and obviously great hands. That's what Quentin had to say about Puka. And then he said, moving on to Davante, you have a guy who hasn't lost a step at all, is super athletic. He's like, I saw a high jump to get a ball in practice, and I said, he could do a windmill dunk if he wanted to. And you know what? He does it all the time in his celebrations with the goalposts. He said, there are guys that have not only perfected their crafts, like, obviously Davante, we said Puka's still learning, but they're a force to be reckoned with. So, I mean, even our captain, Quinn Lake, I mean, he even thinks like, yeah, Davante's legit. And that's all you have to hear. I mean, everyone think back to when Matthew Stafford first joined the Rams in 2021 or leading into the 2021 season. And how remember Aaron Donald came up to him after the first practice and went up there and gave him a huge hug. And he said, man, I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you're my quarterback. Because the stark difference from 2020 struggling Jared Goff in practice and in games compared to Matthew Stafford, who was apparently throwing laser beams and everyone on the defense was like, holy crap, even Aaron Donald. I mean, Davante is having a similar effect with teammates on this version of the Rams. And I think that's a great sign, Mark.
Yeah, it's man, can we get the season rolling already?
I know, no crap. No crap. But again, to wrap it up here on this wide receiver talk, Rams Nation, and Puka and Davante, one of two teams to have their wide receivers vote in the top 15 by the NFL coaches, executive, and scouts. Rams have Davante and Puka, and the Bengals with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are the only other team to have two guys ranked in that top 15 by the coaches, executives, and scouts. So pretty good. I mean, I got big expectations for this passing game. I really, really do. I expect big things, and I hope everyone stays healthy. That's always the key, right?
Yeah, and both those teams have quarterbacks in the top 6 as well.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. I mean, hey, I need this pass. I need 40 touchdowns from Matthew Stafford. Not just obviously all to just these two guys, but I need 2021 passing attack Matthew Stafford and the Rams offense where it was 40 plus touchdowns and a great overall season in the passing game. But we shall see. But at least coaches, executives, scouts agree with us, Mark. Top 15 right there. I dig it. Now, another important thing, Rams Nation, and I think this is something not to worry about yet, but I think it's worth a discussion here. And this is something we have talked about not too long ago either. Rookie tight end, our first pick in this last 2025 draft. Terrance Ferguson remains unsigned. He has not signed his rookie contract yet. Now, you can say, well, he's been at practice, and he's done this, and that is all 100% true. But we all know, Rams Nation, football fans out there, that when training camp comes and it's time to report, if contracts aren't signed, players ain't going to be there either. And that's just a fact. Whether it was guys in our past holding out, Aaron Donald, other guys, whether it's other players around the league, that's just how it is, because that is the time where injuries will start to ramp up inevitably for every team. And it's like, hey, man, I need to make sure my name is pen to paper. So if things go south, at least get the guarantees done, right? And if the guarantees suck, I'm not signing until we figure it out. So Terrance Ferguson is one of many second rounders who have still not signed their contract. Now, Mark, remind me on the Houston Texans wide receiver who was the first to sign. And that player, Jaden Higgins, now that I'm thinking about it, he was the first second round pick in the modern era to get his rookie contract fully guaranteed as a second round pick. He was the first, again, second round pick in the modern era to get his contract fully guaranteed. That happened, And now every other second round pick is like, well, we're going to fight for that too. And I have no problem with players fighting for that. Because if you remember last week's episode of me and Mark joining up, we talked about Rams Nation, how the NFL and the NFL Players Association and NFL ownership and the arbitrator who was investigating whether the NFL office and others were colluding to get players to have less guaranteed money, right? NFL offices telling owners, like, hey, you should stop giving these guys so much money. We all found out recently that all those groups together were hiding the fact that that happened. Why would they do that, NFLPA? You're supposed to be representing the players. I don't understand why that happened. But I think that, Mark, and you see all the other players around the league starting to hold out for various reasons. I think now that, Higgins got his guaranteed contract and this coming out, I think we're going to see a lot more guys, and we talked about it last episode, holding out, wanting more guaranteed money as a middle finger to the NFL office and potentially ownership. And like, yeah, we're going to try to get as much money as possible because we know you guys don't want us to have that much. And all kudos to the players. But again, I bring that up to say Terrance Ferguson ain't signed. And I believe if he's not signed by the start of training camp, which is coming up very soon, he ain't going to be there. And this is going to be a national story, not only with him, with our team, but with any other second round pick that does not sign. But Mark, I mean,
Yeah.
your thoughts on that situation as a whole? And what do you think Terrance Ferguson's going to do, dude?
Well, I mean, it's typically this situation, it becomes a bit of a log jam, and who's someone, some player, some agent, and the team is going to figure it out, and then everything will fall out after that. The question is who is that player going to be, and when does that happen? Camp starts next Tuesday, I think, for the Rams. And I think it's going to impact the Rams more than other teams because he is technically, or well, he is our first pick. So it kind of sucks to have, your first pick as a second rounder, and this happened this season, and he is going to be hopefully a guy that's really going to, contribute immediately. So kind of sucks, but I think I can't predict what's going to happen, but the logjam will break eventually. It's just a matter of how soon, but not good for the Rams for sure. We need him in camp from day one.
Yeah, he's going to be on paper right now, right? We got to see if he actually could play with the pads on and not just, 7-on-7 style and, unpadded 11-on-11. We hopefully he can play and all that, but if everything checks out, like how Sean McVay talked about him, right? He is Kelsey-esque the way he runs. He is Chris Cooley-esque the way he runs and plays football. I mean, damn, if he's not anything productive, I'm not saying he's got to be a Pro Bowler right away, but if he's not a good contributing, like legitimate threat football player at the time position, it'll be disappointing. But the longer he is not at practice, and again, he has not said he's holding out. There is no word of that. We're just hoping that this lingering issue with these second round picks and any other player that may potentially pull this card with our team for various reasons, are there for training camp, and especially for a rookie. I mean, you hear that a lot gets dumped on the rookies from training camp onward. Not that it hasn't been already since they've joined the building and off-season practices and whatnot, and rookie camp and all that. This is the time to get chemistry with the starters, right? We expect Terrance to be in the starting rotation with Higbee and get serious playing time, along with, we expect Colby Parkinson to get some playing time as well and whatnot. And even Davis Allen, we got a good tight end room. So I hope he's signed. I hope it's figured out, Mark, Rams Nation. But, things haven't progressed other than a couple other second rounders. Like, there's like another 25 plus guys that are waiting. But again, Jaden Higgins opened the door for fully guaranteed contracts for those second rounders. Again, kudos to Houston and them for getting that done. I think that's cool. And let the players get as much as they can. I'm team player for sure. But missing that practice time is tough to get in groove for the long grind of the NFL season. We need Ferguson to play good football immediately as we have a tough opening, start of the year. We got to start hot.
Yeah, he better be in camp. Hopefully, something happens here in the next week. We can
Yeah,
only
I hope so
just
too. And I have the faith. I have the faith, Rams Nation, our front office, and them. While they are cutthroat in many aspects, but I think they will come to some agreement. Now, will they do a fully guaranteed? I don't think the Rams will do that. Tony Pastor is our money guy. Kevin, Kroenke, and Les. I think that group together will probably like, yeah, we're not doing that. But I think they'll do something nice, hopefully for Ferguson, and we can just get him in there and get him acclimated, start getting some good football reps in there. But so I'm going to keep an eye on Rams Nation again. That in tandem with the NFLPA collusion with the arbitrator, ownership, and the office all together, hiding the fact that NFL players, were getting told, or NFL owners were getting told, keep the players guaranteed money is not so crazy there. I mean, that's not good. So players are on the rise. Player empowerment, similar to the NBA, maybe not as hardcore, but I'm in favor of that, Mark. I'm in favor of that for sure. But we shall see, Rams Nation. We shall see. But I think another hot topic, and again, we're in the dead period. Yes, training camp is coming up. Yes, joint practice, and we'll have tons of stuff to talk about once all that kicks off very soon. I'm very excited for that, and I know Mark is too. But something happened the last day and some change, and something that will probably continue to happen up until training camp fun starts and other things get revealed. But Rams fans are still waiting for those new alternate uniforms, as yes, the Nike Rivalries program, similar to the Color Rush program not that long ago, where every team got a very unique alternate uniform / helmet and whatever else. And this year's, and for the next 4 years, every team will get some type of what people from Sports Illustrated and other big news outlets, sports news outlets, call it, like similar to the MLB and the NBA City Connect uniforms. As if you watch any of those sports, you see the standard home and away uniforms for your teams. And then they always have a very unique / sometimes very flamboyantly colored, designed uniform that they wear every so often. So people have said, yes, that will be the NFL's version, this rivalry, City Connect style alternate jersey that everyone will get. That should probably be released within the next month and a half, based on what Sports Illustrated reported, that late July / August. Well, before the season, before the uniform schedule, right? Like what games are the Rams going to wear? A white jersey, a blue jersey, whatever else, a bone, this rivalry City Connect jersey. But before we get news and, our hopes and guesses on what that will be, Mark, the Rams internet universe was on fire with uniform talk the last day and some change, and I was a part of it. And so were many, many others. As what spurred this is that the Chargers, who have never had a yellow uniform jersey in general in their history, came out with a nice navy throwback, and then also came out with this alternate yellow uniform. As shout out to friend of the channel, Jake Ellenbogen, and I agree with him on this. Like, well, I'm a little annoyed the Rams never brought this back, meaning the yellow jersey or just a yellow uniform in general. And the Chargers have a million uniforms. And Whitworth tuned in and said, well, I did the Big Bird thing. Don't miss it, as Whitworth remembers the Monday night game against Kansas City where we wore the all yellow and had a great historical game against the Chiefs, 54-51. And then other times where it's been worn as well. So I tuned in, and others have tuned in around the fan base, Booster Club guys, super fans. Shout out to Nick from Rams Brothers. Me and him had fun back and forth in a positive, fun way about uniforms. Other guys, I mean, we had a lot of fun dialogue with a lot of different people about uniforms, but a lot of people believe, including myself, that, man, why can't the Rams, who were originally supposed to have multiple new alternate uniforms the last couple of seasons, haven't done jack tilly squat in quite some time? And I happen to agree with that, Mark. Now, I know a lot of people are very satisfied with the uniform wardrobe we have, and that's great. Me, I wish there would be a lot of differences, a lot of changes made, and I definitely had some fun banter with a lot of Rams fans about that the last day and some change, it feels like, about uniforms and all that. But many people, I will ask you this, Mark, before we get into other little things about uniforms, about Rams history there. A lot of people believe because the Chargers dropped a yellow uniform or a yellow jersey, now the Rams will never do it in the modern era. Do you believe that? A lot of people believe that now. Because the Chargers have a yellow jersey, now the Rams are never going to do it. Even though the Rams have a history of wearing a yellow jersey, have won multiple NFL championships in a yellow jersey, have a historic game in a yellow jersey, and it's just part of the history. But many people think, oh, no, Rams leadership, the Rams creative team, they're never going to want to be like the Chargers and have a yellow jersey now. Do you really believe that? A lot of people believe that.
Who knows? I mean,
I know.
as I would think it's likely that they would not for that reason. You know, a team in the same city as them, and maybe the Chargers, maybe Spanos is kind of doing it on purpose, kind of beat the Rams to the punch with a yellow jersey. But I'm not sure
And
how
let me
much
say
I
real quick, I
care.
firmly believe that, by the way, too. I do believe they did that on purpose. They've never had a
Yeah.
yellow jersey in the history of their program for the Chargers. We've had. So anyway, I believe that Spanos and they did that 100%.
Yeah, but I'm not sure I'm a big fan of it anyways. So I'm not losing any sleep over that. But yeah, in all likelihood, unless the Rams are already working on something, I don't want to steal any thunder from. I know you have a lot you want to say on this subject, but the Rams, they're a pretty smart, they're a brilliant organization, and maybe they're just sitting on something really sweet for us. Maybe it's not going to be, a bunch of different. It's going to be one very special uniform, and we have to hope they nail it. But maybe that's what's coming down the pipe, and whether it's yellow or not, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I hope something nice comes from this, the City Connect rivalry uniform. But, based on some conversations I've had with people who are in the know, they told me a while back, and we talked about it on the pod, months ago as well. If any of you guys were tuning in then, they said, or people that told me they didn't give me the nitty gritty because they were like, no, I don't want this traced back to me. But they were like, hey, this is going to be a different uniform for the Rams. And what does that mean? Is it a black uniform like people are thinking? Is it something they've never done in terms of colors? Maybe they do infuse heavy yellow and maybe switch the helmet color around. They go like yellow helmet, blue horns, or anything else. Who knows? But based on those little nuggets I got a while back, it's going to be something very different than anything traditional we've seen in the Rams history. Which cool, as long as it looks good, I'm in. But we shall see in the next month and some change if that ends up being the case. But in terms of the current wardrobe, Mark, and I had this banter again with shout out to Nick from Rams Brothers and shout out to everyone else I had conversations with about this the last couple of days, or even just anytime uniform talk comes up in our fan base. I mentioned this to him, and I think that a majority of fans would be happy with this. And I have some pictures that I've just BS'd for fun over my free time about it to describe what I would like. So in this blue uniform here, if you're tuning on YouTube, this will help you out a ton. Here's an edit of if the Rams did this to our current set, right? The modern version, I think everyone would be happy. Get rid of the gradient numbers. Get rid of that name tag patch that's like has like that embroidery yellow stitching on top, right? That says Rams. Like we don't need that. We don't need some name tag thing. Take that off. I think raise the shoulder horns to be higher up so it's not so on the side like a jersey stripe like other teams, raise that up and then put back some jersey numbers on the shoulder, darken the blue, darken the yellow like the classics. And I think everyone would be very satisfied with that, Mark. And same thing for the yellow, everyone. Just all that stuff I just said, just keep it the same style. Follow that same mold again. No gradients, darken the blue, darken the yellow, raise the shoulder horn so you can add a jersey number to the side that, is mimicking are classics, but again, is a modern take on it with obviously the new horn, the new the new shoulder sleeve, the number font, et cetera, et cetera. I think if the Rams did that update, again, they don't have to overhaul the whole rebrand, just make some tweaks, which are allowed, by the way. You can make tweaks and it not be some big old deal. I think if they did that, Mark, I mean, I think everyone would be happy. I mean, same thing in the Stafford edit I showed earlier. Just make the shoulder horns bigger, raise them up higher, so everything just looks so a little more symmetrical. Because if you think about this Terrance Ferguson one here, if you can picture on YouTube, where the shoulder sleeves are very, very tiny and very, very much on the side. There's just so much. It feels like there's something missing on the jersey, but they raise those shoulder horns up again, like the Stafford edit or like this Ramsey edit. Add that number on the side. I mean, I think everyone would be happy with that, Mark. But yes, would I love the classics to be full time? Absolutely. Do I want to see white horns like Fearsome Foursome era? Absolutely. Do I want to see a yellow jersey like the 1950s championship teams? Absolutely. But I think it's unrealistic. Our leadership, our creative teams, leadership, and Nike and them, they're so stubborn and stuck on this. They're never changing, which is why I don't think we're going to see a classic uniform anytime soon. Because you know what's going to happen, Mark? Everyone will be like, "Hey, make those the primaries. That beautiful classic uniform that everyone grew up loving and falling in love with. Everyone's gonna feel that way." So I ask you, and I'll end on this, Mark. Where do you rank the Rams' current uniform wardrobe as it is right now? All the helmets they can wear, all the different jerseys they can wear. Obviously, only one helmet right now, and all the different pants, socks, all that stuff. I mean, where do you rank them?
Well, let me put it this way, and I've always felt pretty strongly about this. You know, if you were to take someone that knows nothing about the National Football League and you were to march the 32 uniforms past them, the Rams would be the top two or three, regardless of how extensive, regardless of the status of their current wardrobe. I know where you're coming from. They don't have an extensive wardrobe, and in that sense, they would be dinged and would probably fall into the bottom half. But I'm just going to tell you that I think the Rams have, just starting with the helmet, almost any one of their uniforms is going to be top three or four. I don't care what setup you. I mean, if you look at a lot of these teams, you know, the Browns, the Bengals, you know, even the 49ers, Steelers, and Cowboys, there's nothing special about their uniforms. They're just famous for the success that these franchises have had at one time or another. In the 49ers and Cowboys situation, it was a century ago, but still, you know, the Packers, a big G on the helmet, you know, the Bears, there's just a lot of uniforms that they're just okay, but I think the Rams, the Vikings, even the Chargers, to me, it all starts with the helmet. They're special, you know? I'll give you 2 answers. When you just talk about the basic essence of the uniform, Rams are top 3. If you talk about the extent of their wardrobe today, yeah, okay, they need they have some work to do, and maybe they fall into into in the middle somewhere. I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for, but that's how I feel about it. I just think there's a lot of uniforms in the
No,
National
it's
Football League that'll never measure up to the Rams no matter what they do.
I feel you on that, and that's very positive to think that way, Mark, for sure. And look, it again, if they make those tweaks that I went through earlier for fun, and again at Rams Nation, all this is fun little talk. Because I know uniforms are a hot topic, whether you're lean more my way or thinking, or you lean more Mark's way. It's fun, and we're in the dead period, so we're just having fun with it. And we'll talk about those alternates when they come out in the next month or so. But I mean, for me, based on the design flaws that I think are flaws, again, right? Name tag patch, gradients on the pants, gradients on the jerseys, no shoulder numbers anywhere, no collar, the name tag patch, the shade of yellow is very highlighter yellow, not the classic darker. All that stuff. I mean, I was going through this list with friends earlier who are big football uniform guys. And again, I like talking uniforms, not even just Rams, just in general. I just think it's a fun to look back and, the aesthetic, which has a big deal to do with why you like teams most times when you're growing up and not. Let's be real. Rams uniform was freaking badass. All my childhood and everyone's childhood for the most part. And I had a big reason why a lot of people like the Rams, just and no other good reason,
Right?
than hey, they look cool. And there's the same for a lot of other teams out there too. So had this conversation with friends who are like that. And I mean, dang, Mark, I mean, as of right now, I mean, they're in the bottom quartile or the bottom 10, right? Based on what's available to them, right? Not many options. And then just based on those design flaws that I point out. So they make some tweaks. They add some cool, maybe a throwback in there. I mean, they're immediately top 10 by
Yeah.
by far. By far, if they make some tweaks and add a throwback in or two, or just go back to those. So, I mean, hey, they have a chance. They have a chance to jump up my own little personal rankings and maybe even your rankings with how this City Connect slash, rivalry alternate uniform will look and be like in the next month and a half when we get our eyes on those. But I think overall, though, you are seeing a lot of people who are in the I don't care camp to, man, it is kind of like, why is everyone getting a cool throwback and the Rams are so stubborn on not doing anything? And I think eventually they will. And I do believe one day in the next, that's a while from now, the next 5 to 10 years, they will probably make the switch back to the classics full time. I think there'll be enough pressure once they eventually do it for an alternate for a game or two. It'll get the Storm for that to be the main uniform if they don't make the tweaks to the current sets, which I hope they do. I hope they do, Rams Nation. But anyway, let me know in the comments. I know it's a lot of fun banter about uniforms. We're in the dead period of the offseason, everyone. Give us a little your fun little comments. Do you disagree? Agree with me and my takes? Do you agree with Mark? And then, what are your favorite Rams uniforms in the history of this franchise? And, what would you do about our modern uniforms, if anything at all? And what do you hope that City Connect / rivalry uniform is gonna look like? What do you think? Black, yellow, blue, white, combo of them all? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to see what you guys all think about all that fun stuff. But man, oh man, Mark, the dead
I
period.
wanna yeah,
It is all.
I'd like to see those, 1960s blue and white. I'd be
Yeah.
happy with those,
Oh
to be
yeah.
honest with you.
I need the white horns back. I liked them when they wore them at the
Yeah,
Coliseum. Again, it wasn't that official classic uniform, but man, Mark, could you imagine the classic blue, the classic white, the 60s, and then a 50s
yeah,
throwback? That's all the uniforms
yeah,
that we need, right? You
yeah,
get your two alternates and you get your primaries mixed in. Obviously, maybe they have a blue pant and a white pant, but like
yeah,
it'd be perfect. They would be number one in the entire league, and I think everyone would agree with that. So
yeah,
anyway,
just find a photo of that down the line of scrimmage with the fearsome foursome. That's what I wanna see.
that's great. And I do think one day in the next, I said that's a while from now, 5 to 10 years, I think the organization will cave and will do all those that you and I are hoping for, those classics, and I'm sure many of you are hoping for as well, Rams Nation. But man, oh man, the dead period again, very very fun. But Rams Nation, again, if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, share this video with all your fellow Rams and football fans. Put that notification bell so you don't miss any of our content coming up through training camp and all regular season and hopefully the postseason as well. And if you're on the audio only side of things, don't forget, share this audio, share this podcast with all your fellow Rams and football fans. But Mark, anything before we get out of here?
No, just gotta keep monitoring this Terrance Ferguson situation, cross our fingers they get that figured out by next Tuesday, right?
Yep, fingers crossed on that, Rams Nation, and I think it will. I do think our Rams leadership will figure that the hell out. But whether we see you here in the interweb, whether we see you at training camp at Loyola out there by LAX and SoFi Stadium, never forget, Rams Nation, go Rams, baby.